Hello and welcome to this episode of the Gaming Dip News Show. I'm your host, Pietro, and this is the place for your weekly dip into the gaming news. This week we have some awesome news on hardware and potential game releases, so sit back and dip into this week's news. Let's start with the Xbox and FTC situation surrounding the Activision acquisition. It was revealed by documents that Microsoft suspects Sony of a new slim version of the PS5. This is not shocking in the least bit, as hardware refreshes happen all the time during a console cycle. What makes this newsworthy is that Microsoft believes the competitor is releasing this product this year at a very similar price point to the digital version of the PS5. That would be very enticing for players. The console has been out of shelves at realtors, but Sony might be providing a cheaper and more efficient console, which will get people their hands on the device and give Sony a bigger foothold in the console market. Speaking of hardware updates, it looks like Nintendo is gearing up for the reveal of their next console. On top of the rumors leaked of dev kits being provided for a potential Switch 2, the most substantial leak is on the developer-exclusive site having the codename of the device on it. The codename is NX2, which is important to note since the codename for the Switch in 2016 was NX, only a month before its reveal. While many refreshes of the Switch exist, like the Red Box Switch and the OLED Switch, a fully new and improved console will send fans packing to their nearest realtors to get their hands on the Nintendo console. This console is suspected to have beefier hardware changes to its predecessor, only enticing the community more. And with competition from the Steam Deck and other handhelds on the market, it is high time for Nintendo to reveal something to their audience. If you want to talk about long-awaited products, we have to talk about the leak of a potential Red Dead Redemption 1 remake. Leakers on Twitter shared the news that Red Dead Redemption 1 is getting the remake treatment and not a remaster, meaning the game will be made from the ground up using the Red Dead Redemption 2 engine. It helps that Red Dead Redemption 2 already recreated New Austin, so as long as Rockstar continues to build upon that, we're going to be possibly getting an awesome game. I'll say this though. Take this with a grain of salt, as many leaks can be proven false, especially since Rockstar is still working on GTA 6. So you don't want to get too excited, but you can never be too sure. One thing for sure is, though, that The Lord of the Rings Gollum was so bad that it effectively killed Daedalus Entertainment Development Studio. After the catastrophic failure that is Gollum, the studio has opted to pursue publishing, sales, and marketing, stating that the game was a difficult turning point for the company. That's truly an understatement, as the game was canned by critics and fans alike. I mean, just look at this donkey video.
Who's that? He's one of Father's rats. Kill him!
No, I'm Smeagol. Alright, let's go. What? It just spawned me back in there. Come on now. What if I say, like, what if I go just, I'm stuck here. I'm gonna hide behind that little thing. This.
Truly, this game was a scam, and it came out so unfinished that it made Cyberpunk look good on day one. Plus, it had a foolish $70 price tag up there in the AAA market that was so laughable when you see the state of the game. However, what's not funny is the devs losing their jobs and being tossed aside once the dust settled. It's reported that the development team was about 25 people strong, all of which believe they probably made the best game they could in whatever conditions they were in. And what really sucks about all of this is that the higher ups at the studio are probably sitting pretty and not having to worry about their jobs, even though they are probably one of the major reasons why the game was made in such a poor state. In this next section of the video, I want to introduce you guys to a new segment called In Review. This will be where I kind of talk more candidly about the games I've been playing recently. I want to make this section into like a whole video itself, especially when I'm away on vacations or unavailable to make these types of videos. I want to give you guys a look and kind of a dip into what this section could be about. So for the first game that I'll be reviewing in this In Review section is Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yes, that title is a mouthful. The game itself is tons of fun and enjoyable. Miles' combat kit is so much more lively compared to Peter's with the Venom strikes, and that's what makes it a lot more enjoyable to play. It's a new, different style of play, and the way Miles moves around and interacts with the environment is a lot more flexible than Peter's was. On the downside though is that the upgrade tree seems a little scarce compared to Spider-Man. It's a lot more entertaining, of course, and it's a lot more dumbed down. It would have been nice to kind of add a little more spice into the skill tree here. The story is definitely worth the price. The game centers around Miles as he comes as his own in what he wants to be Spider-Man, and it kind of reminds me of Into the Spider-Verse where he's kind of comparing himself to all the other Spider-Man. Miles is such a fun and interesting character. Like, the take he has on Spider-Man is so different to the way Peter's take on Spider-Man is, because Miles just has a different ethics around him that, like, family and friends matter so much more. I also love the fact that the villains and the plot centered around this story are all centered around Miles and not necessarily a focus on the city being destroyed, but more on his relationship with those characters. My only gripe though is that the length of the game feels so small. Like, I understand already people say that this game is like a glorified DLC. It's really hard not to agree with that when after only about 8 hours of play, I'm already at 75% of the story being done. And that's on top of doing all the side missions and as many side activities as possible. I will say though, like, this game is probably worth a smaller price due to that fact. It, I believe, retails at like $45, $50, but I was able to get it for $30. If you can find it for even less than that, this is definitely worth a pickup. And that's it for this week's Gaming Dip News Show. If you liked what you saw here, please leave a comment down below for what you want to see from the show. Would you like more hardware-based news like new consoles and gaming tech? Or would you want me to talk more about software like new programs or games coming out? How about a focus on industry news from developers and content creators? Or maybe something entirely different that I haven't mentioned? Let me know and I'll make those a priority. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.